हेलो नमस्कार गुड इवनिंग फैमिली। तो आज मैं फिर से अपनी बुक द यंग गर्ल स्टोरी ऑफ अ यंग गर्ल रिटन बाय एनी फ्रैंक कंटिन्यू करूँगी। आज हम पढ़ेंगे थर्सडे 1 अक्टूबर in 1942। Dear Kitty, I got a terrible shock yesterday. Suddenly at 8 o'clock the bell rang loudly. Of course, I thought that someone had come. You will guess who I mean. But I calmed down a bit when everyone said uh, it must be some urchins or perhaps the postman. The days are becoming very quiet here. Louis, a small Jewish chemist and dispenser, works for Mr. Kraler in the kitchen. He knows the whole building well, and therefore we are always afraid that he will take it into his bed to have a peep in the old laboratory. We are as quiet as mice. Who 3 months ago would ever have guessed that Quicksilver Annie would have to sit still for hours, and what's more, could. The 29th was Mrs. Van Dan's birthday, although it could not be celebrated in a big way. We managed a little party in her honor with a specially nice meal, and she received some small presents and flowers. Red carnations from her husband, that seems to be a family tradition. To pause for a moment on the subject of Mrs. Van Daan, I must tell you that her attempts to flirt with Daddy are a source of continual irritation for me. She strokes his face and hair, pulls her skirt right up, and makes so-called witty remarks, trying in this way to attract Piran's attention. Piran, thank goodness, does not find her either attractive or funny, so he does not play ball. Mummy does not behave like that with Mr. Van Daan. I have said that to Mrs. Van Daan's face. Now and then, Peter comes out of his shell and can be quite funny. We have one thing in common from which everyone usually gets a lot of amusement. We both love dressing up. He appeared in one of Mrs. Van Daan's very narrow dresses, and I put on his suit. He wore a hat and I a cap. The grown maps were doubled up with laughter, and we enjoyed ourselves as much as they did. Ellie has bought new skirts for Margot and me at Benjamin Fox. The material is rotten just like sacking, and they cost 2400 florins and 7.50 florins respectively. What a difference compared with before the war. Another nice thing, I have been keeping up my sleeve. Ellie has written to some secretarial school or other and ordered a correspondence course in shorthand for Margot, Peter, and me. You wait and see what perfect experts we shall be by next year. In any case, it's extremely important to be able to write in a code. Great. Saturday, 3rd October 1942. Dear Kitty, there was another burst up yesterday. Mummy kicked up a frightful row and told Daddy just what she thought of me. Then she had an awful fit of tears. So, of course, off I went too, and I do got such an awful headache. Anyway, finally, I told Daddy that I am much more fond of him than Mummy, to which he replied that I do get over that. But I don't believe it. I have to simply force myself to stay calm with her. Daddy wishes that I would sometimes volunteer to help Mummy when she does not feel well or has a headache, but I shan't. I am working hard at my French, and I am now reading La Belle Niversaise. Friday, 9 October 1942. Dear Kitty, I have only got this small and depressing news for you today. Our many Jewish friends are being taken away by the dozen. These people are treated by the Gestapo without a shred of decency, being loaded into cattle trucks and sent to Westerbork, the big Jewish camp in Drenthe. Westerbork sounds terrible. Only one washing cubicle for 100 people, and not nearly enough lavatories. There is no separate accommodation. Men, women, and children all sleep together. One hears of frightful immorality because of this, and a lot of the women and even girls who stay there any length of time are expecting babies. It is impossible to escape. Most of the people in the camp are branded as inmates by their shaven heads, and many also by their Jewish appearance. If it is as bad as this in Holland, length of time are expecting babies, it is impossible to escape. Most of the people in the camp are branded as inmates by their shaven heads, and many also by their Jewish appearance. If it is as bad as this in Holland, whatever will it be like in the distant and barbarous regions they are sent to? We assume that most of them are murdered. The English radio speaks of their being gassed. Perhaps that is the quickest way to die. I feel terribly upset. I could not tear myself away while Mike told these dreadful stories, and she herself was equally wound up for that matter. I just recently, for instance, the poor old crippled Jervis was sitting on her doorstep. She had been told to wait there by the Gestapo, who had gone to fetch a car to take her away. The poor old thing was terrified by the guns that were shooting at English planes overhead and by the glaring beams of the searchlights, but Mike did not dare take her in. No one would undergo such a risk. The Germans strike without the slightest mercy. Alitico is very quiet. Her boyfriend has got to go to Germany. She is afraid that the airmen who fly over our homes will drop their bombs, often weighing a million kilos, on Dirk's head. Jokes such as he is not likely to get a million and it only takes one bomb are in rather bad taste. Dirk is certainly not the only one who has to go. Trainloads of boys leave daily. If they stop at a small station en route, sometimes some of them manage to get out unnoticed and escape. Perhaps a few manage it. This, however, is not the end of my bad news. Have you ever heard of hostages? That is the latest thing in penalties for sabotage. Can you imagine anything so dreadful? Prominent citizens, innocent people are thrown into prison to await their fate. If the saboteur can't be traced, the Gestapo simply put about five hostage against the wall. Announcements of their deaths appear in the papers frequently. These outrages are described as fatal accidents. Nice people, the Germans too, think that I was once one of them too. No, Hitler took away our nationality long ago. In fact, Germans had and Jews are the greatest enemies in the world. Friday, 16 October 1942. Dear Kitty, I am terribly busy. I have just translated a chapter out of La Belle. Nine knees and made notes of new words, then a perfectly found math problem and 3 pages of French grammar. I flatly refuse to do these math problems every day. Daddy agrees that they are, while I am almost better at them than he is, though neither of us are much good and we often have to fetch Margot. I am the furthest on of the three of us in shorthand. Yesterday I finished the assault. It's quite amusing, but does not touch Jupiter Hume. As a matter of fact, I think C.Z. Van Marx Weldet is a first rate writer. I shall definitely let my children read her books. Mummy, Margot, and I are as thick as thieves again. It really much better. Margot and I got in the same bed together last evening. It was a frightful squash, but that was just the fun of it. She asked if she could read my diary. I said yes, at least bits of it, and then I asked it if I could read hers, and she said yes. Then we got on to the subject of the future. I asked her what she wanted to be, but she would not say any and made a great secret of it. I gathered something about teaching. I am not sure if I am right, but I think so. Really, I should not be so curious. This morning I was lying on Peter's bed, having chased him off at first. He was furious with me. Not that I cared very much. He might be a bit friendlier with me for once. After all, I did give him an apple yesterday. I asked Margot if she thought I was very ugly. She said that I was quite attractive and that I had nice eyes, rather vague. Don't you think? Till next time. Your Annie. Tuesday 20th October 1942. ब्लर ही दिख रहा है, पता नहीं क्यों ब्लर दिख रहा है. Tuesday 20th October 1942. Dear Kitty, my hand still shakes although it has 2 hours since we had the shock. I should explain that there are 5 fire extinguishers in the house. We knew that someone was coming to fill them, but no one had warned us when the carpenter or whatever you call him was coming. The result was that we were not making any attempt to keep quiet until I heard hammering outside on the landing opposite our cupboard door. I thought of the carpenter at once and warned Ellie, who was having a meal with us, that she should not go downstairs. Daddy and I posted ourselves at the door so as to hear when the man left. After he had been working for a quarter of an hour, he laid his hammer and tools down on top of our cupboard as we thought and knocked at our door. We turned quietly, absolutely white. Perhaps he had heard something after all and wanted to investigate our secret den. It seemed like it. The knocking, pulling, pushing, and wrenching went on. I nearly fainted at the thought that this utter stranger might discover our beautiful secret hiding place, and just as I thought my last hour was at hand, I heard Mr. Copious say, "Open the door, it's only me." We opened it immediately. The hook that holds the cupboard, which can be undone by people who knows the secret, had got jammed. That was why no one had been able to warn us about the carpenter. The man and had now gone downstairs, and Copious wanted to fetch Ellie but could not open the cupboard again. It was a great relief to me. I can tell you, in my imagination, the man who I thought was trying to get in had been growing and growing in size until in the end he appeared to be a giant and the greatest fascier that ever walked the earth. Well, luckily everything was okay this time. Meanwhile, we had great fun on Monday. Mike and Hank spent the night here. Margot and I went to Mummy and Daddy's room for the night so that the Van sentence could have our room. The meal tasted divine. There was one small interruption. Daddy's lamp blew a fuse, and all of a sudden we were sitting in darkness. What was to be done? There was some fuse wire on the house, but the fuse box is right at the very back of the dark storeroom. Not such a nice job after dark. Still, the man ventured forth, and after 10 minutes, we were able to put the candles away again. I got up early this morning. Hank had to leave at 8:30. After a cozy breakfast, Mike went downstairs. It was pouring, and she was glad not to have to cycle to the office. Next week, Ellie is coming to stay for a night. Thursday, 29 October 1942. Dear Kitty, I am awfully worried. Daddy is ill. He has a high temperature and a red rash. It looks like measles. Think of it. We can't even call a doctor. Mummy is letting him have a good sweat. Perhaps that will send his temperature down. This morning, Mike told us that the furniture has been removed from the Van Dan's home. We have not told Mrs. Van Dan yet. She is such a bundle of nerves already, and we don't feel like listening to another moan over all the lovely china and beautiful chairs that she left at home. We had to leave almost all our nice things behind, so what's the good of grumbling about it now? I am allowed to read more grown up books. Lately, I am now reading Eva's Youth by Nico Van Suchtlin. I can't see much difference between this and the schoolgirl love stories. It is true there are bits about women selling themselves to unknown men in back streets. They ask a packet of money for it. I do die of shame if anything like that happened to me. Also, it says that Eva has a monthly period. Oh, I am so longing to have it too. It seems so important. Daddy has brought the plays of Goethe and Schiller from the big cupboard. He is going to read to me every evening. We have started with Don Carlos. Following Daddy's good example, Mummy has pressed her prayer book into my hand. For decency's sake, I read some of the prayers in German. They are certainly beautiful, but they don't convey much to me. Why does she force me to be pious just to her oblige her? Tomorrow we are going to light the fire for the first time. I expect we shall be suffocated with smoke. The chimney has not been swept for ages. Let's hope the thing draws. Saturday, yours and Saturday, 7th November 1942. Dear Kitty, Mummy is frightfully irritable, and that always seemed to herald unpleasantness for me. Is it just chance that Daddy and Mummy never rebuke Margot and that they always drop on me for everything? Yesterday evening, for instance, Margot was reading a book with lovely drawings in it. She got up and went upstairs, but the put the book down, ready to go on with it later. I was not doing anything, so picked up the book and started looking at the picture. Margot came back, saw her book in my hands, wrinkled for her forehead, and asked for the book back. Just because I wanted to look a little further on, Margot got more and more angry. Then Mummy joined in, gave the book gave the book to Margot. She was reading it. She said, Daddy came back into the room. He did not even know what it was all about, but saw the injured book on Margot's face and promptly dropped on me. I do like to see what you said. If Margot even ever started looking at one of your book, I gave way at once, let the book down, and left the room offended. As they thought, it so happened I was neither room offended. As they thought, it so happened I was neither offended nor cross, just miserable. It was not right of Daddy to judge without knowing what the squabble was about. I would have given Margot the book myself, and much more quickly, if Mummy and Daddy had not interfered. They took Margot's part it at once, as though she were the victim of some great injustice. It's obvious that Mummy would stick up for Margot. She and Margot always go do back each other up. I am so used to that I am utterly indifferent to both Mummy Loing and Margot's moods. I love them, but only because they are Mummy and Margot with Daddy. It's different if he holds Margot up as an example, approves of what she does, praises and caresses her, then something gnaws at me inside because I adore Daddy. He is the one I look up to. I don't love anyone in the world but him. He does not notice that he treats Margot differently from me. Now, Margot is just the prettiest, sweetest, most beautiful girl in the world, but all the same, I feel I have some right to be taken seriously too. I have always been the dancer Nigerian of the family. I have always had to be pay double for my deeds, first with the scolding and then again because of the way my feelings are hurt. Now I am not satisfied with this apparent favoritism and more. I want something from Daddy that he is not able to give me. I am not jealous of Margot, never have been. I don't envy her the good books, good looks for or her beauty. It is only that I long for Daddy's real love, not only as his child but for me and myself. I cling to Daddy because it is only through him that I am able to retain the remnant of family feeling. Daddy does not understand that I need to give vent to my feelings over Mummy. Sometimes he does not want to talk about it. He simply avoid anything which might lead to remarks about Mummy's feelings just the same. Mummy and her feelings are sometimes something I find harder to bear than anything else. I don't know how to keep it all to myself. I can't always be drawing attention to her untidiness, her sarcasm, and her lack of sweetness. Neither can I believe that I am always in the wrong. We are exact opposite in everything, so naturally we are bound to run up against each other. I don't pronounce judgment, look at her as a mother, and she just does not succeed in being that to me. I have to be my own mother. I have drawn myself apart from them all. I am my own skipper, and later on I shall see where I come to land. This comes about particularly because I have in my mind's eye an image of what a perfect mother and wife should be, and in her whom I must call mother, I find no trace of that image. Diary of a young girl, 50. I am always making resolution not to notice Mummy's bad example. I want to see only the good side of her and to seek in myself what I cannot find in her, but it does not work. And the worst of it is that neither Daddy nor Mummy understand this gap in my life, and I blame them for it. I wonder if anyone can ever succeed in making their children absolutely content. Sometimes I believe that God wants to try me both now and later on. I must become good through my own efforts without examples and without good advice. Then later on I shall be all the stronger. Who besides me will ever read these letters, from whom but myself shall I comfort as I need comforting often. I frequently feel weak and dissatisfied with myself. My shortcomings are too great. I know this, and every day I try to improve myself again and again. My treatment varies so much. One day Annie is so sensible and is allowed to know everything, and the next day I hear that Annie is just a silly little goat who does not know anything it at all and imagines that she is learned a wonderful lot from books. I am not a baby or a spoiled darling anymore to be laughed at whatever she does. I have my own views, plans, and ideas, though I can't put them into words yet. Oh, so many things bubble up inside me as I lie in bed having to put up with people I am fed up with who always misinterrupt my intentions. That's why in the end I always come back to my diary. That is where I start and finish because Kitty is always patient. I will promise her that I shall preserve her in spite of everything and find my own way through it all and swallow my tears. I only wish I could see the results already or occasionally receive encouragement from someone who loves me. Don't condemn me, rather remember rather that sometimes I too can reach the bursting point. आज के लिए बस इतना ही। इस डायरी के कुछ पेजेस मैंने आज भी पढ़े हैं। अगर आपको अच्छी लगती है तो आप मेरे चैनल को लाइक करें, सब्सक्राइब करें, और हाँ, तब तक के लिए बाय बाय। मिलते हैं कल एनी के अगले पेजेस के साथ। तब तक के लिए बाय बाय।